Yeah, before we bring in our guest here today, it's playoff time in the NBA and NHL. Baseball's in full swing, and FanDuel is your place to be on every game. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets guaranteed. That's $150, win or lose. You guys can bet on everything from slap shots to home runs to slam dunks, all on the app that is safe, secure, and easy to use. What are you waiting for? Visit FanDuel.com/UCSS to make your first bet an automatic win. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook.
Corey Coleman was the first-round pick of the Browns in the 2016 draft. Now, as he approaches age 30, he played in the USFL last year, led the league in receiving. Was going to be a high draft pick. I think he was going to be the first overall pick in the combined USFL UFL league, and he decided to hang it up. And I know he recently was interviewed, and I can't remember the name. I apologize. I can't remember the name of the. It was actually a Browns blog that or a podcast network. I can't think of it. And they interviewed him, and he shared some really fascinating things about himself, mental health that probably will go a long way to helping other young athletes. And he joins us now, Cory Coleman. Hey, Corey, how are you, man?
Corey?
Good. How y'all doing?
Good, man.
Doing well. Good to see you. I thought that interview you did was fascinating and really eye-opening because, in fact, G. Bush was saying to me before the show about, the Hard Knocks thing, and you talked about that, how you felt like HBO kind of manipulated the footage to make it look worse than it was, and that you were, if you want, since we're there, if you want to speak about it, because it was your wide receiver coach, right, that basically told you to go demand a trade. Is that true?
Yes, that is true. I never, had a chance, opportunity. I was kind of afraid to come out and tell my story because, you deal with so much stuff. You don't want the, blackmail. You don't want to be like, oh, all this stuff. So, yeah, now I feel, I'm in a space and place where, I have told, recently the side of the story where everyone and all the fans and stuff can know the real.
Yeah, I was just talking to him before the show, and I said, man, it was on the thing like Hard Knocks, there's sound bites and things like that, and I just remember at the time that was like one of the biggest sound bites, you know what I'm saying,
Yep.
that was out at that point, and I told Bull, I said, do you think like that kind of messed up his career because that paints a picture of you, especially talking to a head coach, and it was just like I just found it weird that you did get a couple other opportunities, but based on just on basic physical talent, I'm like, well, Cory Coleman got better talent than this guy. He getting a shot. Why didn't he give it? So I feel like it just. Do you feel like when they showed you in that light, it was just like a lot of other teams and a lot of other GMs kind of stepped off?
Yeah, for sure. My whole career, that's probably the worst decision because it followed me everywhere. Everywhere I went, every team, they had questions about that, questioning my character and stuff. I had to redefine myself and put up an image. I'm like, dang, they think like I'm just some horrible person. But, when you look at the Hard Knocks situation, it was messed up, how everything played out, and I was devastated. I struggled for a long time, and still with mental health, with backlash on that, getting death threats, just so much stuff, and that's not how it really played out. My receiver coach at the time, after practice, I was in the receiver room. He was like, man, it's a guy that I trust. At the time, I was young. He was like, you need to go up there and ask to be traded. I'm like, really? He's like, yeah. He's like, they're playing with you. Go up there right now, ask to be traded. He was like, I would go in the Hue office. So I'm listening to a guy, and I'm emotional at the time right now too, because what's going on? You're hearing all this trade rumors and stuff like that. And the guy that I trusted in the building, he led me in the wrong direction, and I went up there, and that's how it really, played out. I went to talk to Todd Haley at the time, and he told me, he was like, "You're the most talented guy." We had some words back and forth and things like that. And I just feel like with my career and stuff, it was, I had to deal with that everywhere I went.
By the way, the interview that you did was with Dogs by Nature, so I want to give them credit for sharing this story first. But go ahead, Mike.
Yeah, and then Corey, now you're working with the United Fitness Lab, so make sure you guys check out Corey doing his next business venture down there with that. But Corey, I'm curious, when players get drafted, we always hear it's all about fit, and it's all about going to the – hopefully we get Corey back in a sec.
Yeah, I'm here.
There we go. We got him back. Yeah, it's always about, a certain fit and going to the right organization. And the same player could be super talented, and in one situation he succeeds, the other situation it doesn't work out. Being a player who was drafted in the first round like you, come to Cleveland, obviously it didn't have the result you wanted. Do you feel like your career would have gone a completely different way if you had been drafted by a different team, maybe to the point where you're still playing in the league today? Like, is that as important as it seems to us from the outside looking in, that fit and the situation is that important for a rookie's success?
Facts. I would have rather got drafted, but the situation is everything, right? I'm going to go with that. The right fit matters more than the draft, what pick you are and stuff like that. Going to an organization that's stable is way more important than getting picked, because if you look at it through the Browns' history, a lot of the first rounders, I guess you would say, don't pan out the way that, people would like. So you got to sometimes stop looking at the players. You got to start looking at the organization, right?
Yeah.
That's a good point.
And with me, I don't mean to cut you off with me too.
Ahead,
people don't realize too that I got hurt 2 years in a row. Some stuff you can't control. My rookie season, I was on pace to having a good season for a rookie. I broke my hand, and I went to the doctor. I met with people don't know this either. I met with the doctors, and they said, "Hey, your hand's broke. You're going to be out." I'm like, "Do I need surgery?" The Browns was like, "No, you are future. We don't want to get you surgery." And the following year, I broke my hand in the same place. And I'm like, and then they're like, "Okay, we need to do surgery." So like, people forget that I was hurt 2 years in a row.
That's crazy.
Wait a second. So, Corey, let me just clarify this. And what's interesting is, the Browns, I feel like, are a different organization now than they were certainly 8 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
They're being run by better people now, better GM, better coach. And had you come to the Browns now, maybe it would have been a whole different story. But obviously, at the time, the Browns were a complete disaster, as you know. But you're saying, so the doctor, this was like an independent doctor, or was it the team doctor that said you needed surgery?
This is the team doctor. So first time I broke it, they agreed that we're not doing surgery.
Okay.
And the second time we broke it, the following year in the same place, they're like, "Okay, we need to do surgery." So I think I should have got surgery the first time.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
But the team advised you against it. That's not good.
It's so crazy. Go ahead.
Yeah, but people don't, a lot of people don't know these things. I was so scared to talk to the media for so long.
Yeah.
Well, Corey, I look back at that time, and it had to be kind of tumultuous, right? I go back then, you take a look, I believe you had Terrell Pryor that was on the roster, correct?
Yep.
I believe in the receiver room, he was transitioning to receiver. You had Josh Gordon, who I remember came back for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers game, like in the preseason, and he played pretty well. Yeah. And obviously they had you. And then there was a thing between Hue Jackson and Todd Haley. Like, talk about a little bit, like, all you guys being in that room. And it's crazy because you guys were so talented individually, but it just seemed like it just never worked out. It just seemed like it was just chaotic.
For sure. You got to think about, too, my GM got fired. Sashi got fired after, I think, my first year, right? So that's very hard for players also, because now you bring in a new GM, and ultimately the GM, he didn't draft you, they bring in a new GM. The one GM who drafts you, he's going to stick by your side for way longer than a guy who didn't draft you, because he just get rid of you because I didn't pick you,
Yeah.
And when the other GM came in, he started getting rid of players, started cutting players, Dorsey at the time. So it was a lot of disconnect in the organization, and all the players could tell, right? We could tell that Ty Haley and Hue Jackson weren't on the same page, that Ty really didn't like the players that Hue liked. Ty felt like, what I mean? In my opinion, I think he felt like he should have been the head coach. There's a lot of
Definitely.
disconnect in the organization, and players could see that.
Corey, I swear I have some fun questions in a sec, but
Yeah.
I just got to ask this last one, and fascinating, and appreciate you opening up like this. Did anything kind of go right during your time in Cleveland? It feels like everything that could have gone wrong for you in those 2 seasons seemed to go wrong, and it's kind of plays with the track record of how the Browns were between 99 and the last 2 years, but holy crap, man, it feels like everything that didn't go your way, like nothing happened in the right way for you.
I'm always thankful for the Cleveland Browns for taking the chance on me and, changing my life. So, I'm going to put that out there. I love the Cleveland fans, the ones, who was on my side. But for my mental health, where I was going, on the path I was going, I needed a fresh start,
For sure.
and just for my own sake, right?
Yeah.
The downward spiral that I was heading, and it was not to be like, how do I say it? Not to be like, oh, I want out this city, that I don't like the city or anything like that, because I did like Cleveland, but my mental state was, was more important, for me to go somewhere else for my career and stuff. But it hurt me the way how they turned it and how they played with my name, like I was just some horrible person.
Corey.
And I got, and this other thing, I talked to the owners, multiple times, and they tell me, oh, we love you, all this stuff. Well, if you love someone, why would you let someone try to mess up my character? Man, you have had one-on-one conversations. You have told me, hey, I love you, I'm by your side and stuff, and then you let them go put this stuff out about me.
Yeah, that was tough.
That's tough.
That's when you really know it's a business. They don't care about you.
Yeah.
They don't care.
That is definitely true. The owners care about the bottom line. That's usually it. You were very honest. We talked about this interview you did with Dogs by Nature, and you were very honest about dealing with depression, dealing with anxiety. These are things that many, obviously men and women, but speaking, there's no stigma for a woman and mental health, but for a male athlete especially, there could be this stigma. I think that's changing. I hope. I'm not in locker rooms. I don't know. I feel like it's changing because we're having more and more players like yourself saying, hey, I had to deal with this. I was drinking too much. I was depressed. There's a lot of guys going through this, but I think there's a lot of guys scared to admit that they're going through this, right? And the fact that you and others are speaking up about it, I do think you're going to help. There's probably kids in high school right now going through this, kids in college right now going through this, that even when you're having success, right, in college you were great, you put up all these huge numbers, but you were probably still dealing with those issues. For whatever reason, you were able to, get over it and not get over it, but push through it and still have success. And the older you get, now you're making money, there's different kinds of pressures. I don't know, but it was very brave to do it, and I think it will resonate with a lot of people. So kudos to you, but take us through that time, because you talked about how you were drinking a lot when you were with the Browns and stuff, and that had to be really, looking back, that had to be really tough.
It was really tough. I was in a dark place. I'm not going to even lie. And, it was more so, I knew I was in a dark place too when I stopped coming home to my mom, and I was, that would, now I look back, I was hurting her because I wouldn't come home, but I thought I made it to NFL. I'm sending you money every month. I'm thinking that I'm here. I'm going to send you this money. I'm going to do this. But in reality, she just wanted me to come home, have a home cooked meal, be around me. But I was so dysfunctional and I wasn't right in the head. I didn't want her to see me So I was avoiding her. I was avoiding my family. You know, I was drinking. Sometimes I come to practice drunk. I was depressed. I was dealing with, you know, multiple women trying to cope, temporary, fulfillment. Um, and and I just saw myself, and that's why I said that I needed a fresh start. Because I look back, I'm like, I'm not even this person, right? Um, and I think, we're losing, a lot of pressure, being a first round draft pick, of course. Um, and everyone put it on, a lot of times the first round draft picks, right?
Yeah.
It's the easy person to put it on. Oh, he's not paying it now. Why is he not paying it now? He had the worst O line while he was at Cleveland in the NFL. Who's my quarterbacks? I played with like 10 different quarterbacks in 2 years. You got guys who got the same quarterback for their entire career. You got a guy who have the same coach for their entire career. Um, so I was dealing with a lot of stuff, and I reverted to coping with bad stuff, and I was going through it, just depressed, miserable, showing up. Sometimes I was like late, and I just make up excuse because I didn't want them to really know like what I was dealing with and stuff. And whatever they say, you're supposed to be the strong man. You don't supposed to cry. You don't supposed to do any of this, complain. But I was hurting when I was there, you know.
Nowadays we in the social media era, and even as, believe it or not, as media members, right? Even on Twitter, we deal with, all right, who do you respond to, who do you not respond to? Talk a little bit about how you coped with social media and how athletes today cope with social media. And because it's easier said than done. People come from different areas and different places. And so when fans say certain things on social media or DM you, or, you getting all these emails or different things like this, how difficult is it for a professional athlete to blank all of that out and just kind of like concentrate on football?
Um, it's very, very hard at a young age. Now, I don't care. But when I was young, I was 20, 21, 22, like, that stuff used to bother me. Like, used to, because you see it, right? So you see the DMs, you seeing the tweets or whatever. You can play, when I was young, you can play like, oh, it doesn't matter. But you see someone, especially like who I am, I'll try to make everyone happy. I wanted to, try to make the fans proud, So you seeing, and they don't really know what's going on, right? Like, what's the truth? They just seeing Sundays or whatever the case might be, they're not seeing it all the way. So it used to bother me. It used to have me feeling some type of way. I'm not gonna lie. I probably got over on Instagram. I probably got over like 3,000 people blocked. So I started
Good
fucking.
for you. Good for you,
know,
man. Seriously.
yeah, but when I was young, he used to eat at me. Now I'm okay because I got a better understanding of things.
So, Corey, let's talk about that. Obviously, you've turned it around, the fact that you acknowledge and are able to talk about mental health issues. You've talked, I saw in this article, you talked about, not drinking to excess anymore. And obviously, you had a great season last year in the USFL. What turned it around for you? And do you feel like you're in a good place now?
I do feel like I'm in a good place, and I'm gonna give a shout out to Pat Sherman, who's my coach at the Giants. When I got to the Giants, after all the stuff I went through, even with the Bills, right? I can speak about the Bills. I went there. I have a text till this day of the GM at the time saying like, "Hey, you're killing it. You're gonna help us do so great." All this stuff. The GM texted me. I didn't have his number. He texted me, tell me why. Week later, 2 weeks later, I got released. But so it was a lot of stuff that started to build up. Like I started having trust issues. Like I'm like, man, these organizations, this dude just text me, went out his way to text me. I didn't have his number. And he texted me like, you're killing it. I see the speed out there. You're gonna have a great career here. And 2 weeks later, I get released and I asked him, what's going on? we don't know what's more important to you. You putting the team first or you going to the Pro Bowl. I still remember it vividly. And I was so confused because I'm like, yo, I just got on this team. I didn't even know everybody's name on this
Right.
team.
Like, what you talking about? Do I got a stunt double?
Like, I was so confused, right? I'm like, this is the exact same words. We don't know what's more important. You putting the team first or you going to the Pro Bowl. I was being quiet while I was there at the Bills because obviously they just put out this stuff on Hard Knocks. So I'm like, I'm going in here. I'm not going to say anything. I'm just going to do my job. Like, that was my whole mentality. I was scared because they put out all this stuff. So my bad, I don't mean to go into too much detail, but to
No, it's
double
all right.
back,
This is great.
when I got to New York, I was broken as a kid. I'm not gonna lie, I was broken. And they put, oh, he's the journeyman. I'm seeing all this stuff, right? So I get to New York, and boom, I work out for him. You know, I talked with Pat Sherman, who was the head coach, and Mr. Getterman. Man, those are my guys. I appreciate them. And when I got to the receiver coach, he was like, "You got to work from the bottom." He just started judging me. Just based off the hard knock stuff, all this stuff. You know, he automatically thought I was this type of person. And he started judging me. And Pat Shermer, he said, "I'm going to give you a fair shot at this." I said, "That's all I asked." I came in, my receiver coach was like, "You're going to start from the bottom, you're going to be on practice squad for a while." I was like, "That's okay." You know what I mean? I'm going to work my way up. And like a week later, I started returning kicks for him. Me and Eli was cool. They started playing me at receiver. Eli took me in. This is a Hall of Fame quarterback. I'm not expecting Eli to be like that. Eli's my guy. I still talk to him today. I thought he was going to, he took me under his wing. He flew me out, summer workouts to work out with him and stuff. I'm like, okay, I'm back happy. Like, at the time, I'm like, I'm feeling, the love of the game now, and so the following year, they were finna pay me. They were finna extend me. They were finna give me a pretty good contract. But I tore my ACL, if y'all remember that year. I was starting at the X. I was starting the X receiver. I tear my ACL. I'm sitting there, I'm crying because I know that I'm finna show the world, prove everyone like this is who Cory Coleman is, right? Boom. After the season, Pat Sherman gets fired. Just my luck. He gets fired. Boom, they bring in another coach. When you bring in another coach, they want their players. If you're not on long-term deals or anything like that, they start chopping because they want to bring in their own people. And they kept on bringing me back. And it was some guys on the Cleveland staff on the Giants at the time. And they were like, "Man, you look like a totally different person. If we had you early on, if we would have drafted you when we was at Cleveland," he said, "you'll be a Pro Bowl." The guy was telling me. He was telling me this. And it was just a lot of, in my career, just you call stuff unlucky,
That's crazy, Corey. I want to ask a question that's not necessarily related to your career, but obviously you played at the highest level, so you have more insight on this than we do. But we have discussions about the GOAT, and we rank things, and we try to have some fun. When people ask you who are the best receivers of all time, Corey, in your opinion, as someone who played the position at the highest level, who are the 3-4 best, undisputed guys who not necessarily you modeled your game after, but were the best of the best, the cream of the crop on that Mount Rushmore level of receivers, in your opinion?
Okay. Man, see, it's so hard. When people ask me this, I'm going to give you the answer. When people ask me, it's so hard because it's different types of receivers.
Yeah.
Right? But I'm going to go Antonio Brown. I'm going to go Randy Moss.
Okay.
I'm going to go, and I'm going to put him in his mentality too. I have to. He's one of my favorite receivers of all time. Obviously, I'm going to go Steve Smith.
Yep.
I'm going to go Calvin.
Okay. It's 4. Give me one more.
And I'm going to go I'm not going to go like too far back. So I'm going to go Julio.
He was Julio was so good in his prime.
Yeah,
The combo of size and speed.
no doubt.
Incredible.
Yeah, you're too young for Jerry Rice. You didn't see Jerry
Right, I
Rice.
was gonna say Jerry Rice. I was, but I'm too young, and I didn't, I'm not gonna. He's obviously he's number one, right? If you that's like Michael Jordan and stuff. But I'm gonna go like who I actually.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Corey, what's the plan? 30th birthday. You got big plans for your 30th birthday this summer?
I think I'm gonna go like to Bali or Thailand. You know.
That's big plans. Yeah, that counts.
It's so funny. I was literally talking to somebody yesterday that had gone to Bali and said it was the most amazing place on earth, and now he brings up Bali. That is weird. Have you been there before?
No, but I see pictures. I'm trying to go jump off the elephants into some water and go with monkeys and stuff.
That's where the pigs are in the water, right? Isn't that where you could like swim with the pigs? Yeah.
Damn, I want to swim with pigs and jump off of elephants. What the hell?
Now listen, man, Corey, I gotta ask you this, man, because I'm going through it right now. I'm having, you know what I'm saying, an intervention, right? You know what I'm saying? Like back in the day when I was younger, I couldn't get all the Jordans, right? So like for me, I just had to get like, so now I'm like a child. I'm petulant. Like I'll be going to the store and be like, no, I'm going to get these shoes today. Like I need these. First of all, do you still have a mean Jordan collection? And if so, what's your favorite Jordans?
I definitely do. I probably got over like over 3,000 pairs of shoes.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah,
you said 3,000?
No. Listen,
3,000.
The reason I know this because I'll be on the internet, I remember I've been searching people like GQ. They be having the shoe things where they go in and buy the shoe. I said, man, Cory Coleman out of anybody.
Where do you put 3,000 pairs of shoes?
Cory Coleman shoe game.
He's got a big closet.
Yeah, I got in my master room, I got 2 closets upstairs. I got a whole room that's a shoe room. At my mom's house, I have shoes in the garage, and I have a room at my mom's house. So shoes in there. Boxes is stacked up, you know. Yeah, it's a lot. But it gets overwhelming because it's like, what am I going to wear with this? With this, it's just a lot.
Well, how do you? I gotta.
How do you even find them? Are they like
if you gotta
catalog?
find a special pair, how do you know? Is it at your mom's crib? Is it in the closet? Is it in the second? Like, how do you know where a certain? If you're going out on a Friday night, you need a certain pair of shoes. Out of 3,000, how do you find the pair you're looking for?
So I have so many shoes. I pick out my outfit, right? And then I go in my closet and I'm like, okay, am I feeling the 1s, the 2s, the 3s, the 4s? And my house lady, she do a pretty good job of organizing the stuff for me. The ones at my mom's, I got like doubles of a lot of stuff too.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So what's the best pair?
Yeah, I'm only putting on the feet.
What's the go-to if you got to get them?
I like the causes, the 4s.
Mm-hmm.
Those, it's the collab. I like people don't know. I like the Dawn 2s. Those are pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Just depends, you know, what we doing. We getting dressed up, or we just going to the gym.
These are not it.
These are not it.
Those are not it.
These are not it at all. I do not have a good shoe game there, Corey. I got no shoe game whatsoever.
He got the Brooks on, dog. He got the
I got the
Walkers.
Brooks, man.
Well, they don't make.
I got fat feet. What do you want from me?
They don't make Jordans triple wide.
Look at that.
Look at the wideness.
Get a little blue in there. A little blue.
These is a 12 double E wide. This is crazy.
Corey, the reason Bull never played in the NFL.
What size shoe you wear?
Me? 12 and a half. 12 and a half. 4E 12 and a half. I got big wide feet.
They don't even come in there. He got all kind of alphabet numbers beside his joint. 12
What do you want? I'm
dash 6B.
I'm built like a short guard. I mean, what do you want me to do? That's it.
The reason Bull didn't play was he couldn't get 2 feet in bounds.
Dude,
he would need to land on the hash mark to get 2 feet in bounds.
That's true. I would not have been able to do the tippy toe there. That would have not worked for me.
Oh, you crazy boy.
Oh, man.
Well, Corey, we really appreciate it, man. Thank you so much.
Hey,
for
best of luck
time.
to you, Corey.
Best
We
of luck.
appreciate you coming
Salute
on,
to you,
man.
bro.
Take care.
Thank y'all for having me.
All right.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Appreciate you,
Anytime,
Corey.
man.
Good luck. Have a good one,
Cory
man.
Coleman. I tell you,